What's going on, knuckleheads? Welcome to the Stipe Miocic versus Daniel Cormier UFC 252 post-fight reaction discussion. I'm your host, the FightersRep, and man, what a fantastic night of fights. The UFC, they do it like they usually do it. They do it big. They do it right. Obviously, the highlight of this evening, in my opinion, was the main event, Stipe Miocic versus Daniel Cormier. It was the rubber match between two of the best to ever do it, not just in the heavyweight division, but in the world. And at the end of it all, at the end of, I believe they said 3 years of fighting and prepping, Stipe Miocic comes away with a unanimous decision after 5 grueling rounds where the judges had it 49-46, 49-46, and 48-47. Now, to be honest with you guys, I thought 48-47 was probably a better score, but, I'm okay. I'm okay with the decision because I felt like Stipe Miocic got the win. It was a close fight, but I thought Miocic got the win, especially I believe it was in the 3rd round where Miocic almost finished DC. He had him reeling, hit him with a couple right hooks. DC had to hold on for dear life and just, barely make it out alive. Was able to kind of hold DC in an awkward position till the bell rang. Came back strong in the following round, which I believe was the 4th, but every round was pretty close. I felt like Miocic was landing the harder shots. I felt like his punches were the more effective punches, and that is what the judges are supposed to be scoring on. So I felt like, that's the proper criteria and that the judges actually got it right. I did say there will be a little bit of I told you so here. I did say on my Facebook, I need to start doing prediction videos again. And I'm going to get those to you guys. I am going to start doing those. But I did say on my Facebook that I did not like this fight for DC. For whatever reason, almost everybody went against me on there except for my brother Krishna Kim, the coach out there. One of the better coaches in striking out here in Southern California. And, he agreed with me. He liked Stipe for the win. I wasn't 100% sure who was going to win, but I didn't like the fight for Cormier considering he's an older guy. He's got nothing to prove. And the way he got beaten the last fight, I didn't think that there was much he could do to come back and nullify the advantages that Miocic has. I mean, let's be honest. He's a bigger guy. He's a younger guy. I think he's the faster guy, probably the stronger puncher, although Cormier packs quite a punch, as we saw in the first fight when he knocked Stipe out. But again, that punch that knocked Stipe out, that was kind of a Hail Mary punch, that one punch in a career, one punch in a lifetime punch, I think Joe Rogan mentioned. It was a great punch at a great time. Stipe Miocic didn't see it coming, and Cormier was able to capitalize. I didn't see that happening again after the second fight. And I felt like DC would be a lot more respectful of Stipe Miocic in this 3rd fight, probably a lot more hesitant. And at the beginning, they both were pretty hesitant. But again, when it started opening up, I just felt like Miocic had the advantage in the striking. And, as far as the wrestling went, I mean, I said this before. I believe I said this in one of the videos. I can't remember now. But I just felt like even if DC's wrestling was technically better, the size advantage puts them about even as far as wrestling. And what I mean is the size advantage for Miocic, it's going to make him harder to take down for a guy like Stipe. And I just didn't like it. I mean, I didn't think Stipe was going to be able to out-wrestle Miocic. And that showed tonight. I mean, in fact, if anybody had the advantage in wrestling tonight, it was absolutely Stipe Miocic. I mean, he was pushing, DC up against the cage over and over again. And I didn't really see much from DC. DC's only chance of winning the fight tonight was through striking. He landed some, sneaky right hands. He's got a powerful right hook, it looks like, but it wasn't enough to win the fight. It wasn't enough to win, to deter Miocic, who seems content to kind of walk forward sometimes, just eat the punches, which I don't know if that's the best strategy. I mean, he does move his head sometimes, but a lot of the times I feel like he just walks into these punches. And at the end of the day, Miocic is the better man at heavyweight, especially at this point, and has earned the GOAT moniker at heavyweight. He's definitely the best heavyweight to ever do it. I think at this point you got to give him that. Probably the best there is, period, unless John Jones can move up to heavyweight and prove me otherwise. There are, again, some other dangerous people in the heavyweight division. We saw one tonight. I don't care how bad Ngannou did Jairzinho Rozenstruik in their fight. Rozenstruik showed once again that he is an absolute force to be reckoned with when he just, demolished Junior Dos Santos with a second round TKO tonight. The guy's dangerous. I mean, you either, it's the heavyweight division. One shot can end it all, but Jairzinho Rozenstruik really defines that because in his last 6 fights, he's got 6 knockouts. So, he's a scary guy. He's not to be played with. And there are a lot of guys in the division that can do that. Potentially to Stipe Miocic as well. But I think as of right now, you got to give Miocic the benefit of the doubt and consider him to be the man. Because he's the man who beat the man who beat the man who defended his belt, So there's a lot more to unpack tonight. But before I kind of move on from the Miocic and Cormier fight and, check to see what you guys are writing about in the chat, I wanted to say that I mentioned on my Facebook that I did not like this fight. I did not like this fight at all for Cormier. There was an eye poke that happened in this fight that had me, to be honest with you, just as a human being, as a promoter and otherwise, worried sick for Daniel Cormier. He says he couldn't see anything out of his left eye. And to me, his left eye just looked absolutely, mangled, for lack of a better word. I'm hoping that he didn't permanently damage that left eye. That is part of the reason I didn't want to see him step back in there. I thought he'd done enough. I thought he should have just, gone off into the sunset. Now, unfortunately, because he wanted to take this last kind of dangerous, potentially, I guess you can call it unnecessary fight. I mean, I just hope he didn't compromise that eye, man. That's all I want to say about that. I also want to talk about Marlon Vera versus Sean O'Malley. We'll hit on Jairzinho Rozenstruik versus Junior Dos Santos. Anything else you guys want to talk about in the chat? Let me just see what's going on here. By the way, guys, appreciate you guys joining me. If this is your first time here, smash that like button, the subscribe button, the bell notification icon next to it. We do this after every big event in combat sports, typically boxing and MMA. We get together and we talk about both. This is the Fighters Rep channel. I am George, aka the Fighters Rep. I am basically the only California promoter as far as kickboxing goes with a pro license. You guys join this channel, subscribe to this channel, donate in the super chat, or get some Fighters Rep gear in the links below. And all the proceeds are reinvested into continuing to build the promotion and where I believe to be the Mecca of combat sports right here in Southern California. So let's see what everybody's talking about before we move on to some of the next topics here. Fight Life Nation's in here. He says, all right, I'm sober enough for this. Not sure if that's a good thing. Kevin from Chicago says, open the phone, Bubba. I'm not going to be opening the phone tonight, Kevin. I know I told you last time I would, but I will definitely get it ready for you for the next one. It's just not ready right now. Fight Life Nation says, fight of the night was the curtain jerker. Those two guys went to war. Go back and watch if you get the chance. Not sure what he's talking about there. Kevin from Chicago says, Stipe arguably won every round. That is definitely an argument you can make, but I like to think, DC probably won a couple rounds there. Fight Life Nation said Stipe won every round. I thought he was busier and had him hurt. Arjans in the Granite says Underdog City. Vera Stipe. I knew O'Malley never fought a top 15 guy. Love the Irish. I think Putrid. Iden T69 lovers. Glad he got it. Upset Stipe wins. He's a savage. He won the whole night. Kevin from Chicago says didn't see one clear round for DC. Arjans in the Granite says exactly Fight Life Nation. I agree it wasn't a clear round for DC. I didn't think any of the rounds were super clear for him either. I thought you could have given him a couple. But I don't know. Maybe I got to go back and watch. But I definitely thought the right guy got the nod. I thought Miocic won the fight. Kevin from Chicago said first round, only round DC might have won. He was losing until he stunned Stipe late in the round. That's true. Fight Life Nation says, I still like this fight for DC, but he just got beat. But I bet he got paid. He did get paid. RGN's in the Granite says, everyone said DC class act. I knew he was going to beat Stipe. Man, that wins second fight. 68% wins third fight. Kevin from Chicago says, I don't think DC can make 205 anymore. He's built like a bowling ball with a bowling ball head. Yeah, definitely not, especially after the age of 40. I think this is his last fight. RGN's in the Granite says, DC is a class act. Has nothing to do or nothing to be down about. Jones versus Stipe. RGN's in the Granite says, Stipe is lean and mean BBC fighting machine. Steve M says Cormier is a fraud. Well, I wouldn't go that far, Steve. Fight Life Nation says, I thought the second fight DC was dominating the first 3 rounds, but the body shots ruined him in one round. Stipe threw those early tonight. Steve M says, can't believe he had the nerve to bitch about the poke. Laughing my ass off. Well, Steve M, if you see the condition of his eye immediately subsequent to the fight, I think you'd understand why he's bitching at the poke. I mean, that was a horrific injury that looks like he sustained on that eye. And again, I've indicated before, I hope that eye's okay. That looked really bad. Steve M says Cormier dominated 1 round. You've got a point there. Stop blindly repeating what Joe Rogan says. Calls Fight Life Nation an idiot. All right, guys, let's be nice. RGN's in the Granite says O'Malley 16. O'Malley 69 went out on a shield. At least he didn't rat on 700 families. Steve M says because you're clearly just repeating. Oh, man. What the D-Riding commentator says. Cormier dominated literally 1 round. That's it. Cormier is a bum. Had to cheat in all 3 fights. Hope he gets hit by a train. All Cormier fans legit should kill themselves. Peace. Wow. Wow, Steve M. Steve M is deep on his, 7th or 8th Long Island iced tea over there. Mr. Sooner says, do you think Jones will vacate the light heavyweight title and fight Stipe? That leaves the door open for DC to fight for the light heavyweight crown. And if he wins, could we see Jones versus Cormier trilogy? I don't think we'll see DC in the cage again. Let me reiterate that for you guys. So I hope that answers at least a portion of your question. I don't think we'll see DC in the cage ever again. If not for, his age and what he's already done and having lost 2 fights in a row, I think it's, a poor idea to put him back in there, considering what happened to his eye tonight. I'll be honest with you guys, that looked like a really bad injury to the eye, man. I hope there's no permanent damage, but I wouldn't be surprised. Let's put some positive vibes out there for DC's for DC's eye, or for DC, maybe some prayers or whatever, if you believe in that sort of thing. I know I do. Put some positive vibes out there for DC. I don't want to see a guy lose his vision in his very last fight. And I think that, combined with his age, combined with these 2 losses in a row, combined with what he's already done in the sport and what he's got waiting for him on the other side, means we won't see him in the cage again. RGN's in the Grand says, Stipe beat DC almost every round during all 3 fights. Steve M says, Jones lost to Reyes already. Fight Life Nation says, in the second fight, he didn't win 1 round. 2, paper champ. Okay. RGN's in the Granite says, Stipe's the best. Jones, DC, Francis. Stipe isn't a paper champ. You're on crack if you think that, says RGN's in the Granite. Fight Life Nation says, I'll give you full credit for picking Vera, George. I think the whole world was looking past him. I know too much. Marco Martinez, my brother from Fight Life Nation. You help us at the FightersRep shows, and I thought you might pick up on this as well. But Chito Vera, if you guys don't know, Chito's from Team Oyama, some of the highest level guys in the world train out here in California, and Team Oyama is just one of those teams. And if you think that you're going to get in there with a guy like Chito Vera, who's been just beating everybody, he lost a decision to Song Yadong that everybody thought he won. He's a seasoned guy. He gets better with every fight. He's got balls of steel, and they're so big they reach from here all the way down to Ecuador, where he's from. He's not a guy to mess with. He's constantly training high-level Muay Thai. They spar like animals at Team Oyama. I've heard the stories. The guy's shins are probably made out of granite. RGN's and the granite is on the chat, so I had to throw that out there. And you can't do that fancy striking stuff, and select the shots that the kid was selecting against a guy like Chito Vera. At least that's what I believe. I believe he threw a kick against a guy whose shins are made out of titanium and got his leg broken. All credit to Sean O'Malley. I think he's a tough kid. He did go out on his shield. But, he's going to have to do a better job of picking his shots, because Chito Vera, again, is not a guy, I think, to sleep on or to play that game with. And he got a big win tonight, a win he deserves. And he deserves to, be higher in that bantamweight division. And I believe Chito Vera can beat anybody. That's my opinion. And again, Fight Life Nation's giving me credit for that, because he saw on my Facebook that I said, let's go, Chito. I felt like Chito was going to do something special, and he did. Harvey Castellano says, how can I not watch this? It's always on my feed. What up, Harvey? I appreciate you, my brother. Thank you for joining. Like, subscribe, knuckleheads, please, says RGN's in the Granite. I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you letting them know. Fight Life Nation says Merab is going to be a real problem at 135. He looks strong against a guy who did not want to fight. It's easy to forget Dodson has a KO versus Dillashaw. Yeah, but Dodson, as great of a fighter as he was, he's no longer that guy. He slowed down a few steps at least. I think we've seen the best of John Dodson already. Merab is a guy that's still surging, still hasn't reached his prime. I think at some point, we'll see Merab perhaps get to the top or near the top of his division. And I think he's headed in that direction. But John Dodson, guys, let's be honest. Great guy, great fighter, super talented. But I think he's already peaked, and he's not going to get any better at this point. Let's see here. Harvey Castellano says, I picked Stipe, me and you both, brother. He says, I wish Sugar lost without injury. Hate it when a fight ends because of an injury. We lost out on a war, in my opinion. I agree. But, I believe that injury was probably caused by a check. But, I could be wrong. Or by kicking somebody's leg that's, again, made out of iron. RGN's in the granite says Stipe rocked him. He got knocked out. O'Malley got knocked out, not injured. I don't know about that. Harvey Cat says, I don't think this is the end of Cormier. I gotta disagree with you on that one, Harvey. I don't even know if he'll be able to even get cleared with that eye injury he suffered there, brother. But we'll see. RGN's in the granite says Stipe got 15 pokes in all 3 fights. DC won, man. But DC got the bad one, RGN's. Cormier was definitely affected badly by that eye poke, says Harvey Cast. Yeah, man. I mean, his eye didn't even look normal anymore. It looked like a damaged eye. It was really sad to see. John Jones needs to fight Jan Blachowicz, says Kevin from Chicago. Jones has to fight before 2020 is over, White said today. Wow. Well, we'll see what happens with that. We'll see if Jones comes back. I mean, obviously him in the UFC right now, they got some heat. So we don't know what's going to happen there. But, we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. Kevin from Chicago says Sean O'Malley not built for war. Second time he was crying in pain on the canvas. I mean, he's a very skinny, very long guy for the bantamweight division. Perhaps he needs to put on some more weight, some more bone density. I don't know. Again, though, a young guy throwing a lot into his strikes. When you're going to commit like that to a strike, you gotta select your shots, especially if you're kicking the legs. I have a feeling that, probably a lot of training combined with kicking Chito Vera in the leg probably had something to do with that injury. I don't know if it was entirely just him, using funky footwork and movement that caused the injury. I would imagine that Chito Vera's his bones in his legs had something to do with that win. Maybe checking the kick. Getting through said, "Damn, Sean O'Malley got robbed, bro." No, I don't think so. Getting through, I don't think so, bro. RGN's in the granite says Vera top 10, 15 fighter. And O'Malley never fought anyone. All hype. Vera 8-fight win streak now. Mr. Sooner says, who would you pick? Jones versus Stipe. That is a tough fight. If I'm being honest with you guys, I would pick Jones in that fight. I would pick John Jones to beat Stipe Miocic. That's not to say that Stipe can't beat him, because he absolutely can. But I think John Jones is too long. He uses kicks, his wrestling, his speed. I think he would just be too much for Stipe Miocic. And maybe anyone in the heavyweight division, unless he gets hit and gets, put to sleep, which is something that something that Stipe could do to him, something that Francis Ngannou could do to him, something that Jairzinho Rozenstruik can do to him. That's the danger of going up to heavyweight for John Jones. If he gets clipped by one of these guys, it's not going to be the equivalent of what's happened to him in the light heavyweight division. If he gets clipped by one of these guys, it's going to be night-night. And, that's the way I feel about that. The Next Move podcast says, Vera and O'Malley was the fight I was looking forward to. Such a disappointing result. Vera was a little too pumped for that result. No, but I don't think so. I think if you understand that aspect of striking, you can't do these spinning 100% committal kicks low to the leg against somebody who's versed in Muay Thai, and training those bones and those legs over and over again and knows how to check kicks. We need to find out exactly how that injury happened. But yeah, that's the story I'm sticking to. I think I think he made a mistake in that strategy against a guy like Chito Vera. You got to be on your P's and Q's. You got to be 100% dotting your I's and crossing your T's, baby, if you want to beat Chito Vera. That's not going to be an easy guy to beat. Again, strong, skilled, relentless, big balls. He's going to be a tough guy to beat. RGN's in the Granite says, thank you, George. My pleasure, my brother. You know you're my brother. Kevin from Chicago says, UFC needs to quit hyping up overrated strikers like Shahbazi and O'Malley until there are way better fighters that deserve the promotion. I think what happens, and you know, part of the reason that I'm a kickboxing promoter myself, is that the strikers, you know, are usually the guys that make the fights exciting. You know, it's the striking fights that are exciting. People don't want to see hugging and, you know, jiu-jitsu transitions in an MMA fight for, you know, 3 to 5 rounds, whatever the case may be. They want to see people go to war, and I think that's why those guys get the promotion. You know, they're popular because of their style, and the UFC knows it, and they're just booing them. Getting Through says, I can't believe Sean got robbed like that, dude. You're wrong, man. 10-9. RJ's in the Granite says, I love Jones, but Stipe or Inez, I'd have to go with my favorite, John. A little confused on that one, my brother. Mr. Sooner says, Jones already calling his shots at Stipe on Twitter. I think that's a good fight for Jones. Harvey Katz says, Chito's balls are so big, they go down to Ecuador. Great line. Thank you, Harvey. Thank you. Thank you, brother. I actually have a cousin that was born down there, so I'd love to get down there sometime. And I'm glad that Chito's from there, representing and, you know, doing it big for the sport in South America, bringing more eyes to it. RGN's in the Grant says, I'd go John Bones Jones. So RGN, I guess, agrees with me that he'd win in a fight against Stipe. Kevin from Chicago says, Merab is a problem, high motor guy, big time. And RGN's in the Granite says, Merab has speed. Whoa. Merab does have a lot of energy, man. He does have a lot of energy. Getting Through says, without the fro, Dodson lost a Mystique, dude. Demetrius has the biggest pair in all MMA. RGN's in the Granite says, Stipe wasn't? Getting Through says, the stash on JDS was sexy AF. He deserves that title shot. Man, poor JDS got sparked tonight. RGN's in the Granite says, I agree, Kev from Chicago. He's still got a future, needs a year of training. Vera knocked him out when he was on the ground and leg kicks. RGN's in the Granite says, Jones is my favorite, but Bones, look, see, do. Kevin from Chicago says, Ariel on Twitter, nothing but DC talk. No respect for the GOAT Stipe. Stipe is the GOAT at heavyweight. But, you know, Ariel is DC's boy. That's what happens when you buddy up to one guy. You know, and you know, they even have a show together. So, you know, who knows what's going on there. Arjun's in the Grand says, I like Stipe if I was a betting man, but I will root for my favorite John Jones. Watch out how hard Vera kicked him when O'Malley was down. Kevin from Chicago says, Ariel Helwani needs to get off DC's hog. This is Stipe's night. Ariel Helwani, the weasel. RGN says, Vera hit him hard on the ground. The weasel has a channel better than Ariel, and Vera hit him hard. So that's what you guys got for me so far. Marlon Vera, man. Marlon Vera, again, man. A guy that's well-versed in striking, you know. And just to let you guys know, trains at Team Oyama, one of the premier camps that I'm proud to say I've worked with. I've had fighters from them compete on the FightersRep shows. And in fact, a guest that we've had on an interview on this show, Chris Cross, is a Team Oyama fighter, a pro fighter. He actually fought amateur with FightersRep before moving on to the pro ranks. Who knows? You might, one day see him again. But, if you know about Team Oyama, you know they got killers out there, man. And again, the fight came up. I said I got to put it out there. I went on Facebook. I said, let's go Chito, because I know, man. I know, you gain experience from doing this. You gain experience from being a promoter and working in Southern California with what I believe are, again, I say it time and time again, I'm going to say it till I'm blue in the face, the most advanced, probably, fight camps in the world, from Black House to Team Oyama to CMMA to Saxon Muay Thai and on and on and on. And Team Oyama, man, I hear stories, I hear stories. I know people there. I've interviewed people there. I'm friends with Alex Perez, who's partially in charge of the amateurs there and booking their fights. Colin Oyama posts on my Facebook page sometimes. I know these people, and they are no joke. They're not to be played with. They're not to be played with. And if you're going to go out there, and showboat and be flashy and play that game, fine. Fine. But you got to understand that once you hit a certain level, it may backfire, And it's backfired on guys like Conor McGregor, Anderson Silva, and now Sean O'Malley. Because there are guys out there that they've been hit in those shins and on their body so many times that if you, slam a kick into them as hard as you can, especially if they know how to check it, you're going to end up breaking your shit. That's just the way it is. You're just going to get your shit broken right there in the ring. And I think that's what happened tonight. I could be wrong. It could have been 100%, on Sean O'Malley's footwork and footing on the canvas of the octagon that caused a freak accident, or maybe it was an accident from training that kind of crescendoed in the ring and resulted in a serious injury. But I'm gonna stick to my guns, man. I'm gonna stick to my guns on this one until I'm proven wrong. I think a guy like Chito Vera, and again, I hear stories of the sparring that goes on at Team Oyama. And, a guy like Chito Vera, a camp like Team Oyama, right? Like, I'll give you an example. Chris Cross, in his first pro fight, broke his face, shattered his face almost, broke it in several places, fought through the entire fight, and lost the split decision. Passed out after the decision was read or something like that. You go back and watch the interview. That's the toughness that you're dealing with when you're dealing with those Oyama guys, man. Colin Oyama is a guy who means business. He doesn't mess about. He's all about his business in the fight game, and from what I've seen at least, and he develops great talent. You can't take that away from him. And Sean O'Malley, just ran into a talented guy tonight. A guy who hopefully will get more respect after tonight. Let's see here. Getting through says Fedor better than Stipe in your opinion, bro? Question mark. Is Fedor better than Stipe? That's a hard one. That's one I would probably have to think about. It's a different era. And, Fedor to me at one point was definitely the best in the world. Pound for pound or otherwise. The best. I thought Fedor was a freak. So is he better than Stipe? I don't know, man. I think I would have to say yes at this point. Something I'd like to think about maybe and then further elaborate on. But just gun to my head, I'd say, yeah, man, he's got to be, or rather, Stipe's got to be better. I think you have to consider Stipe better just because of the competition. It's a different level, I think, at this point. Not to say that Fedor was fighting guys that weren't great, but I think the guys in the UFC, I mean, DC 3 times, Dos Santos, Francis Ngannou, the guys fought some guys that are just terrifying, and he's been the only guy to defend that damn belt, man. It's like nobody can defend that UFC heavyweight belt. And Stipe has managed to do it. Alistair Overeem. I mean, the guy's a killer, man. The guy's a killer. And it's all these different styles. I mean, this one-hitter quitter monster and Francis Ngannou. This guy considered one of the best to ever do it. Olympic wrestler. Who can also punch hard as hell, and Daniel Cormier, Junior Dos Santos, who has high-level jiu-jitsu and great boxing. Alistair Overeem, one of the, best strikers in MMA heavyweight history, probably. I mean, and not to take away from the guys that Fedor beat. He beat some good guys, but, I don't know if he beats Stipe in their prime. Kevin from Chicago says O'Malley was already looking ahead, talking to Cody. Don't count your eggs before they hatch, as they say. Damn, man, that is true. He was talking a lot of shit about Cody Garbrandt. This sport will humble you quick. Combat sports will humble you quick, man. Getting through says JDS comes from pride, bro. Soccer kicks in the head. Where's Crow Cop? I want to see him versus Stipe next. Nah, Crow Cop's too old at this point. Getting through. I think he's too old at this point, my man. Kevin from Chicago says Vera, a tough top 15, top 10 guy, but I don't see him becoming top 5. Could be wrong. Kevin from Chicago says Team Sexy. Yeah, I think Vera can become top 5. I definitely do. I think he's continuing to improve with every fight as well. Harvey Cass says John Anik says he has just been told there is a tear in Cormier's eye. Oh, man. Read just now on Twitter. That's horrible, man. That is horrible. There are awesome fighters in the Northeast. Patton down to Philly, down to Miami, East Coast, always great in boxing. Cali has one of the best camps in USA. Fedor is an epic Hall of Famer. You damn right. Stipe isn't done. Stipe wins versus Savages. Enough said. Come on, it's Stipe's night. He's not done yet. Stipe's a beast, bro. Arjun's in the granite. You're totally right, man, about, all the great fighters on the East Coast. I'm a Miami boy myself. Philly, up your way in the Northeast. Boston. There are great fighters, man. These are tough places in the Northeast, on the East Coast where there are tough fighters. And, there are incredible teams, some of the best in the world, right? I think of American Top Team. I believe it's, I forgot the name of it. Henry Hoof's training camp down there. Probably in Fort Lauderdale or something. I mean, that's also got to be one of the top teams. You got some fantastic teams up in New York. But I think, per capita, you look at California. I mean, on every corner, you guys, there's a world-class boxing gym. There's a world-class MMA gym. There's a world-class Muay Thai gym. They're on every corner. And that's why I say what I say about California. And not just Southern California, Northern California's got some killers too. I mean, at least that's just, from what I've seen. That's where I get my opinion from. I mean, there's so many camps, so many guys at the highest level that train here. From Habib to DC, who we saw tonight, to Marlon Chito Vera, to, tons of guys in boxing. But yeah, I mean, Cain Velasquez, Luke Rockhold trained here for a while. Maybe he's back. I'm not sure. just, talent upon talent upon talent. And yeah. Yeah, let's see here. Harvey Cass says Dana White confirms Francis Ngannou is next for a title shot. Wow, well, I mean, you got to give it to Francis at this point, Harvey. Harvey, I believe you're a matchmaker out here in California, my brother. So I think giving it to Francis Ngannou is the smart thing to do, Harvey. Let me know if I'm right. I believe you are a matchmaker. And so, you know this territory. Tell me who you would give the title shot to if not for Francis. Kevin LaRosa says, don't sleep on NorCal, my brother Kevin LaRosa. What's up, my man? Hey, haven't seen you in a minute, man. I hate to say it. I hate to say I miss you, brother. I hate to say I miss seeing your face and your goofy outfits, stylish outfits. But nonetheless, I got to make fun of you on here in front of everybody, so I'm just going to call him Goofy. And, yeah, man, big shout out to you. You can't sleep on NorCal, man. Especially, first thing I think of when I think of NorCal, I think of our boys at John Sanong, the Wooden Man Muay Thai. They sent me Ethan Ketchon, who picked up the win at FightersRep 9 on the co-main event. The kid is a beast. Also, Mikey Shaw, one of the premier amateur strikers in the game. I'm looking forward to working with him in the future. He also brought me a young amateur by the name of Cy Hansen, who came down to FightersRep 9 and got a win. And that kid's another special kid, man. Mikey Shaw, further along in his career than Cy Hansen, of course, has a pro fight, 1-0, a special talent, and I believe the kid he's preparing probably as his prodigy or one of his many projects over at Raw Striking Academy. Cy Hansen, another tough kid. So yeah, big shout out to NorCal. Let's see here. RGN's in the granite says Francis versus Stipe too. It's got to happen, man. Stipe is going to have to avoid those big shots. He's going to have to go through that gauntlet again, man. Damn. If I'm Stipe, if I'm being honest with you guys, if I'm Stipe, I might just retire after this win, man. This is a great send-off to retire off this win. That's what I think. RGN's in the granite says East Coast, South Carolina, North Carolina. I got cousins there. It's East Coast. Harvey Cass says, duh. So it looks like Harvey agrees with me. Harvey, the matchmaker, says Francis versus Stipe. That's the fight to make. Matchmaker, make me a match. RGN's in the granite. Duh, don't go there. I think RGN's, he might be talking to me, my brother. John Wick says, long time no see, my friend. I got home today. Had COVID. Was in hospital for 2 months. Stipe beats Francis in rematch, then retire. RGN's, I was talking to George. I knew it. Don't worry, RGN's. Nobody's going to talk out of line to you, my man. We all know what a lovely person you are, but what a psychopath you can be. And we would never do anything to disrespect you. Even the notorious Harvey Castellano, knows better than that. He's a fight game. He's a guy with a lot of respect, so he wouldn't do that. John Wick says, Stipe beats Francis in a rematch. Wait, John Wick. You got to tell me about this COVID, my man. You were in the hospital for 2 months. John, I want to know, how old are you? What kind of shape you're in? What happened to you? Give me the details, man. Hey, this is Knucklehead Nation, man. We got to look out. We got to look out for each other, man. We look out for each other, man. So I want to know. I just want to know. I'm curious. I'm glad you're back, bro. I'm glad you're healthy. This fucking virus, man. I never in my life expected to deal with some shit like this. You know, if anything, this thing's really opened up my eyes to how fragile we are as a species, you know, because I'm not the type to get political on the channel or anything else like that. I don't like talking about stuff like that. I mean, if fighters bring it up, whatever, I'll talk to them about it. But I won't bring it up in my promotion or nothing like that. People can express themselves however they want. But it has shown me how fragile we are as a species. I was looking at some numbers. I saw, you know, at this point it's probably a little bit beyond, but when I checked a few days ago, we were at, as a country, 162,000 deaths, right? So I decided to do a little research. And keep in mind, that's 162,000 deaths, and we're all like quarantined off, sitting at the home, not doing anything. I did a little bit of research, and I saw that, you know, the cause of death, or I guess one of the leading causes of death, if not the leading cause of death in the United States, heart disease, and that about 640,000 die from that each year, and that consists of 1 in every 4 deaths, right? So 1 in every 4 deaths is because of heart disease, and it's at about 640-something thousand in a year. So I said to myself, damn, so this thing, and we're still in August. We're still in August. It's already taken out over 160,000 people, and we're quarantined. I mean, imagine if we were just walking around, living our life normally, what the count would be. And then imagine what that count would be by the end of the year. I mean, basically, this thing is as prevalent, you know, or probably would be as prevalent or almost as prevalent as heart disease and killing people. And that's a scary thought, man. That's a scary thought. Let's see here. Kevin from Chicago says, the damaged eye came from a punch at the end of the second round. Watch when DC was going back to his corner. I don't think so, Kevin. I think it happened when there was an eye poke, and literally, like, Stipe's finger went in to the knuckle. So that's, you know, that's where I think it came from. Argent's in the Granite says, glad you beat the COVID-19. Prayers, glad you're all right. Sorry, dude. I didn't know. My bad, dude. Prayers for the COVID survivor. Big prayers for John Wick. Let's see. He says, I'm just turned 40. Got it, doing everything right, and I'm healthy. Don't smoke. My lungs are shot and got problems with kidneys. Man, I went from healthy to shit fast. Holy shit, John. John, where do you live at? And you know, give me more details if you don't mind, just a little bit more. I don't want to make you too uncomfortable, but are you able to walk around? Are you, you know, do you need like dialysis now? Like, is anything different? Do you feel like you're going to recover 100%? Let me know. Kevin from Chicago says, coronavirus, nothing but a power grab, big business taking over small business. That could be it. RGN's in the Grand says, prayers for all the people and families that have suffered from this COVID-19 horrible invisible war we're fighting. Strange times in my 49 years on Earth. 2 eye pokes, 2 from each. Stipe did poke DC on accident. John Wick is out in Columbus, Ohio. John, man, fuck, bro. I'm glad you're good, man. John, I'm glad you're good, bro. I'm glad you're good. Damn. Cannabis community, we all here keeps people from getting COVID. Fuck, man. I'm out here in California, man. If you guys don't know, I think we're leading the country right now. I think it was kind of back and forth between us and Florida, which is my native state. But California is leading the charge right now, I think, man. It's not looking good, man. I've been sectioned off too, man, but I won't lie, you know, I went on a little vacation over the weekend with the fam. Rented a little, pool house on the lake. Enjoyed my time. Got a bunch of drinking in. I did go to the park yesterday. Got some work in. Went and did some pull-ups, burpees, some push-ups, walked all over the place. Got to get back on that elliptical though. I did that a couple times before going on vacation. That's something we need to do, man, to stay away, to try to be healthy from this thing. Shout out to Ohio, John Wick. Arizona is the hottest place for COVID right now, George. Damn. It's fucked up. Anniversary of Poland defeating Bolsheviks. Check that out. That's from Kevin from Chicago. Knuckleheads, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, the bell notification icon next to it. Join Knucklehead Nation. I got FightersRep gear and Keep It Clean gear. That's my new podcast every Monday at 7 p.m. with the legendary Manny Robles. So his fighter, man, unfortunately, Brandon Valdez came up short. He was fighting for the WBO Super Bantamweight Latino title. His fighter came up short in a decision. I was out there in Orlando, or rather in Kissimmee, Florida. So, that sucks, but, good experience for Brandon Valdez. But yeah, anyway, we have our podcast where we talk boxing every Monday at 7 p.m. Definitely going to have content for you guys almost every day. We have an interview with a fantastic personality in the fight game every Friday, also at 7 p.m. And when I say 7 p.m., it's usually 7 p.m. Pacific time. That's when we air our content. And of course, we can always use your help, man. Anything you guys donate to the channel, anything you guys purchase in the link below gets reinvested right back into the promotion. Especially now is a good time if you're feeling generous to donate or buy gear, because we cannot put on any fights right now. I mean, the California State Athletic Commission has indicated that we could, if we want to, do fights without an audience. But if you understand the way the business works, to do a fight without an audience means you miss out entirely on the live gate. And then on top of it, the proposal right now from the California State Athletic Commission is for us to not only not have a live gate because of concerns with COVID, which are justified, but to also have the promoter, which would be myself, pay for every single person's COVID test, including every fighter, every coach, every assistant, every staff member, every official. And it would just be, a money burn if I were to do something like that. And I don't ever think it's wise to burn money, and I never advise people to burn money. So I'm just going to have to stick around and kind of wait this thing out and keep this channel burning and going. So, appreciate your help. Let's see here. Shout out. Let me see here. Pull-ups, George. Get on that road work. What I've been doing, RGN, I've been trying to incorporate this set where I do 10 burpees, and then I go into 10 squats, and then I do 5 pull-ups, and then I do 10 push-ups, and then I do 10 dips, and I rotate. I do that 5 times. So I end up with like 50 of each and 25 pull-ups. I'd love to get to the point where I could just crank out 10 pull-ups every time, but that's kind of hard. I can do 10 the first couple times, and then my body's like, nah, bro, you way too damn much to be doing this many pull-ups. So I just try to get it in, my man. But I got to do some road work like you're saying. John Wick says, my lungs are shot, but my kidneys have to keep getting checked. My heart took damage, but it's overall a very long recovery, and I'm doing basic rehab from being laid up. Very shitty. That sucks, John, man. I hope you get back to 100%, brother. Harvey Cass says, the MMA gloves need a redesign with respect to eye gouging. Yeah, I mean, I wonder how they would do that, though. I wonder how they would do that. John Wick says, "My God, it's so nice not to have tubes running from everywhere." Holy shit, man! So they intubated the hell out of you, huh, John? Damn, bro. Are you able to get up and move around a lot, or are you just kind of bedridden? Harvey Cass says, "I looked into a no audience camo show, but without TV streaming revenue, it's astronomical." Yeah, and who's gonna pay to watch amateurs fight? It's. I mean, I guess some people will, but it's not the same as having popular pros that would be able to cover the costs of doing a show with no audience. And then Harvey's talking about CAMO, which is the Amateur Mixed Martial Arts Commission. I go through the IKF for striking events. They're the ones with jurisdiction over striking events. I no longer do CAMO MMA shows because I'm over MMA. You guys can keep it. I enjoy watching it, but I don't want to promote it anymore. But yeah, it doesn't make sense to promote right now in California if you're a regional promotion like myself. RGN's in the Granite says, "This is an epic show, people, and share these for FightersRep. It's the most honest fight talk with awesome fans. That's helped George promote this channel, underrated channel. Thank you, my brother." RGN's in the Granite says, "Quadruple set." Kevin from Chicago says, "Don't forget squats for a fat ass." John Wick says, "Burpees, man, and pull-ups." I love it. RGN's in the Granite says, "Gotta could me up with a name for 5 sets and a foes pull-ups are hardest for heavyweights for sure, man. Pull-ups are hard. Our rules for an event during this time would be exactly the same as the UFC, and we don't have that budget at all." Yeah, I agree with you on that one, brother. RGN's in the Granite showing love to John Wick. Outside Fights George Distance fans. We're doing a show just to fulfill our sponsorship fulfillments. I feel you, my man. I feel you. But anyway, guys, always dope talking to you guys, man. I'm going about an hour on this thing. We'll continue to do this after every big fight. I think I'm going to do the predictions again. So, definitely hit the subscribe button, the bell notification icon. Join me for the predictions because, man, I got Cheeto right. I got Stipe right. I felt like everybody was against me on those for the most part. Harvey, I felt like everybody was against us on the Stipe thing, man. And, tune in. Get you some money if you're anywhere near a sports book or betting online. John Wick says, "I lost 35% of my lung capacity. I won't get it back at all. Fuck, but I'm very stiff moving around. Okay, doctor said walk long as I can tolerate it. But he wants me to do what I can, but not be bedridden, man." I hope you get better, man. Keep pushing. Keep pushing. Damn, man. Damn. Keep on pushing. Harvey Cass says Twins Special has an MMA glove where the fingers are directed at a 45-degree angle down. I see what you're saying, Harvey, but then how can guys wrestle? You know what I mean? And even 45 degrees, bam, I still can stab somebody in the eye. I mean, I think maybe they just need to give out heftier penalties for eye pokes so guys understand that they can't be doing them. Later, George. Hopefully I could call in next time for sure. Kevin, appreciate you being here, man. Well, I think people would love fights outside. I think you can sell tickets. The problem, though, RGN, with me doing that is I would, lose my license with the commissions if I were to just have people fight outside. And also, I still can't have an audience, so I can't generate an income. John Wick says, "Thank you, guys. I'm glad I caught the show. But Vera got an easy win with injured O'Malley. They need to run it back." We'll see. We'll see if O'Malley can, can even recover from, within the year from what looks to maybe have been a broken foot or broken shin or something. RGN's in the Grand says we got to try and help John some way. John, yeah, man, let us know if you need some help. If you want us to start some sort of fundraising or something, if you need it, I'd be glad to do that right here with the knuckleheads, man. See what we could do. But anyway, knuckleheads, much love to you guys. And if you guys want to message me, you can always do so on Instagram. It'll eventually get to me. So follow me on Instagram at FightersRep or on the Facebook fan page at FightersRep. Send a message. It'll eventually get to me. Or you can email me at info@FightersRep.com or George@FightersRep.com. Anyway, knuckleheads, much love to you guys. Holy shit. Kevin said I had it back in February, dropped 45 pounds in 1 week in hospital. 6 months later, I'm still down 15 pounds. Jesus, Kevin. That's why you were gone, brother. We got to talk. All right, guys. We'll talk soon. Have a great one.